Hey guys, so it's Saturday. It's been a whirlwind of winter, and it's not because I've got a bunch of animals on the ground. I don't. Um, as you know from a few of our other clips, um, you know, and I've heard from some other people. They've got their breeding groups. I just helped a couple with getting a purchase agreement on a piece of land that I'm selling. Because that is a component of my job. I sell land, farmland, because I have my real estate license, as well as that being a necessity for my job as a newly accredited farm manager. So use that for whatever it's worth. It's some letters after your name. Anyway, I talked to them. They raised some sheep, and they were having some similar situation to us. So, our next set of mamas won't be here until like almost March, or around March, give or take. I know one horn. I gave her a little bit of a hoof trim. Her hooves, she just is always kind of a get down, big queen on campus. Get down. She always gets all of her share of grain, and so she always has a lot of hoof growth. So they're getting plenty of nutrition. Crazy. She could use a hoof trim too, but now it's kind of icy and snowy outside. But that group's coming up, and one horn, she's starting to show some bag already, but she ultrasounded with multiples. We could be talking like potential for maybe like quads there. Let's hope that, say early stages, one of those got absorbed back, and I really don't like to see much more than triplets. Not that moms can't handle them, but that's just kind of the thing. So you can hear everybody fighting back here because I just grained them. Rebar is definitely the queen bee, but you'll notice I'd actually have to go back to look at my last video. I think what I did is I recorded it, but I haven't posted anything because I just been too busy with work even on weekends to post anything. But you can see if Rebar wants something, she's going to take it. She's been fairly violent, especially with like Phoebe. She's just not having Rachel right now. These two feeders I think are just too close. What I should have done is I should have fed this scoop of grain on the other side of the hay feeder. But as you'll notice here, since I'll post this before, even if I do anything with my other clips, Peaches, our red and white paint doe. Where's Peaches? So Peaches died. Her triplets were doing really well. And I started to notice that she just wasn't letting them nurse. And now, first thing you guys are going to do is you're going to get into the comments. Oh, why didn't you pay the money to take her somewhere and get her an autopsy, this and that? Listen, no. If we felt like it was an issue and something that could have caused an issue for other animals, Peaches was overall healthy, but what I noticed was she would follow me around, and when I would get the door is right here where I come in, and I'd come over here and she would follow me. And what she would do is she would always stand between me and the wall, and her babies would, I'm going to kind of come play gatekeeper over here. Their grain's gone, so I don't know what they're fighting for. But she was always standing between me and the kids. And ironically, that night, I went in and I told Shane, I said, Peaches has done this a couple nights in a row now. I said, something just doesn't seem right. I said, she's still eating. She still jumps up to eat hay. Obviously comes up for grain. But I said, it seems like she just burned out. I said, just like you get with the kids, homeschooling them, staying at home with them and stuff. I said, it just seems like she just wants to get away. They're literally fighting over grain dust right now. And I said, I think what I'm going to do is, I said, I've got some stuff in there now. Because we just put new shavings in here. I cleaned the shed today. But I said, what I think I'm going to do, and this has been a couple weeks ago already, is I think I'm going to feed her morning and night in that pen. And just give her 20, 30 minutes by herself. Grain them first, finish chores, come let her out. You know, just give her a break if that's what she needs. And I came out literally the next morning, and she laid right there, dead. On her side, eyes open, legs almost crossed, like she laid on her side and had a heart attack. And Shayna talked to, I think she mentioned it to Jess. And I think, God, you guys are evil. I need to go get them some hay. I'll try to hurry this up. They've been out of hay most of the afternoon. Anyway, Jess had said that the vet had diagnosed a couple of theirs in the past with basically what they assumed was heart attack. Because her bag looked fine. Shayna had looked at her bag a couple days ago. They just did that constant, like when mom's like, step over the kids, like, get away from me. So I don't know what happened there. That was a heartbreaker, because Peaches was one of the, she wasn't one of the very first, like, year or two. If she wasn't she wouldn't have been our first kid crop. She would have maybe been out of our second kid crop or third, one of those two. I can't remember how long we used that first buck before we rented kind of a wether genetic buck from Todd and Jess. But anyway, that's why I'm in here. So anyway, we ain't got a whole lot of kids in here now. There hasn't been a whole lot of action besides me cleaning the shed and honestly living in my cave in the basement, doing my daytime / nighttime / all the time except for my life job. But me and Shayna had a little bit of a, not a heart-to-heart, but like the beginning of the discussion around this guy. So he is unique to this group of 8. As you know, it started kind of as a group of 10. Ice lost one. This would have been her first time. I think she delivered early. And so that was kind of a thing there. But, because that's her mom and that's her sisters, essentially. Stepsisters. But she delivered early, so we lost that one. And then, so maybe we're actually down 3. Yeah, because we had a couple, you know, like miscellaneous ones in these groups that didn't make it. So, but anyway, so this boy over here, this is Machine. So if you remember Machine or look back in the videos, if you watch any of our stuff, Machine was a home-raised buck that we had kept from last year. And I'm even trying to think, did Machine come out of rebirth? Honestly, I'm stunned right now. I don't remember who Machine is out of. I know he's one of Brett's kids. So he's Square Power's son, which would explain this part right here. What I really like about this guy is that Brett expressed his front end fairly strongly compared to his back end. And what would happen is his kids would almost V, you know, because they couldn't carry enough hip to offset the look of their front end. And what's different about this guy, which he is Phoebe's son. I think she's the one back there. You can't tell. Yeah. So that's Phoebe there. But Phoebe is the one who gave us the Flying Duchesses, 2 of the 4 girls that we kept back last year. And sorry, I thought I saw something in the house, but I didn't. It was a reflection when I moved. It was my reflection in the window to the window of the house. But anyway, what we're trying to decide with this guy is he's like a 90, say like a 94% or something like that. Because Phoebe is a higher percentage, and then Brett was 100% registered. And so it's just one of those things that, as a percentage buck, a couple things can happen. Either A, I, the breeder, have to make a decision, do those dangly bits in there, do they stay or do they go? And generally in a situation like this, unless I have a buyer predetermined for somebody like this. Like 2 years ago, they refer to him as Lucky, but Todd and Jess came and looked, and we had a really nice commercial buck that they picked out and seen early on, which is kind of a benefit. They come over for the kids' birthdays, and they kind of claimed him as like, we want that guy in our operation, and he's done pretty well. I think Todd said that they have excuse this term. I know it's not right, but it's just a term I'm going to use. It's like a show jock, right? Like we know what show jocks are, right? But it's basically there's somebody that basically like kind of brokers a few goats. He goes to breeders and he picks them up. I know his name, but he had picked up some of Lucky's kids last year as kids to, you know, basically pay Todd and Jess for, and then move them to other operations, you know, basically take them and remarket them to kids, place them, right? Whatever the actual term is for that, I'm trying not to use a term that somebody's going to hate on me for, but that's the case. So anyway, with this guy, video, I don't know how it looks to you guys. I'm using the front camera on my phone, so it's not super high quality. But in person, there's just something different. So being Machine's kid, everybody else is Rebel's kids. And Rebel has square power in him, but he is more balanced. He's not this overly expressive buck. He has more neck. He has more length. He's more level. His dad is a little more compact compared to Rebel, who's more stretched out. He looks more compact. He's like average length, you know. A little bit shorter on the neck, but carries really heavy bone and muscling. That dude is about as solid as that pipe is. I guess unless you can bend that pipe, then I guess that's a bad analogy, but that dude is solid. And Shane has been saying, yeah, he's going to make a really good wether. And there's just something in me saying, I need to step back on this, because for us as the breeders, when you keep a buck out to grow them, generally we try to keep, and now we still need to double check him over, check his scrotal structure, you know, some teat structure, stuff like that, just to make sure everything checks out. But as we get here close to banding time on a couple of these other boys that are in here, there's just something telling me to not take those away. I don't know. He's probably the most, out of everything we've raised on the farm, he's probably the most complete animal as far as he's very level. Even when he's not standing in a certain way, his hip height is just barely higher. And he's very tubular in design. There's like, you can tell there's just a little bit of like wether style to him as far as like a tubular body. His belly's flat, his top line's flat as it can be. And then you set a good strong shoulder on him. And he's got good bone, not an over excessive amount of bone, but just very proportional for him. And he doesn't have a giraffe neck, but there's just something at this age that I see when I watch him walk across the barn. And I don't think it's going to show up here, but you can just see this cone style muscling and shape of his neck that, as we've gone out and show and we watch some of the bucks that we've seen win classes and just kick the snot out of a bunch of us, right? That basically the ones that just stand out. That is just something we see. And so, I don't know. I told Shayna, I said, the goal of raising goats can be multiple things. It could be the show world. It could be the breeding reproduction world, which doesn't, I would say in my case, the way I view it based on our experience and what we kind of see, it's not as integrated as the cattle industry. There's tiers in the cattle industry, and there's kind of like a pocket up here of goats, a pocket here, a pocket here. There's not much correlation there from the top side to the bottom side, say in a commercial application. But I just don't know that I could weather that guy. And if the goal of man having domain over animal, if I should try to create the best life for these animals and raise the best animal, even if I don't have a full-blood buck to sell because I keep him, or if I sell him, if he turns out to what he looks like he's going to be now, which should be a pretty good indicator of what he turns out to be, I just don't think I can do it. And I don't know why I'm sitting here talking to you guys on YouTube about it. I don't know. Maybe some of you will see and say, hey, you know, you keep him intact, I'll offer you this. You know, something like that. There's a little part of me that'd like to grow him out, you know, till breeding season. Because, I mean, he was born early enough that he could have a couple ladies, you know, come breeding time, mid to late summer. And so, I don't know. Like I said, he would be like a 94%, something like that. Shayna said she keeps better track of it than I do. But she said he would be a, I think you could show him in the full-blood class in a show. So he's high enough percentage on paper that he wouldn't be excluded. So, like I said, it would be a buck that would be a percentage program style buck, but I don't know. I'll just shut my mouth and I'll flip the camera around, see if I can get him to look on camera like he looks in person. I don't know. Maybe he's not that impressive. Maybe I'm just got rose-colored glasses because he's one of my kids. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to get you a couple clips of him. Just if the moms will settle down, then I got to do some hay. So anyway, that's all I got for now. I've got some other clips, but honestly, I don't know if they're that quality. I'll try to get you something more at some point, but junk content isn't content that's worth watching. So I'll try to bring you something decent. I just haven't had much lately. So I was just going to say, these guys, now, him, her, and him, those were Peach's triplets, and man, were they shaping up to be some good little commercial kids. Well, actually, percentage kids, excuse me. That'd be 50%ers. And I think they still got good potential. You know, with mom passing away like she did, that's it just set these guys back a little bit. They had to, because mom was partially weaning them early, they had to take to grain and hay and drinking water early. So keep a bucket in the creep pen for water for them, and I'll go get them some extra hay. But yeah, I would say we got lucky there on you know, the fact that it was late enough that we could switch them over, and they could take to that. And I don't know if we could have got them on a bottle, but yeah, there's Rachel's boy. He's got the cape with the long kind of a sleeve on his left front leg. But anyway, okay, off to do hay. We'll check in with you guys later.